Welcome to our quick video on our USA buying trips. What are they all about? In this quick video, I'm going to explain to you what they're about, why they're so exciting, and why many people have actually been on them and achieved fantastic results. So who am I? I am Scott Picken. I'm the CEO of International Property Solutions, IPS. We've helped over 2,000 people invest internationally to a value of over 1.6 billion rand. But most importantly, at the end of the day, I'm an international investor. I invest in international property, and I want to share with you and my experiences and be able to help you. So we live in tumultuous times. I mean, at the end of the day, I'm here in a fantastic day in Cape Town, but in typical Cape Town fashion, it's all over the place. The wind is blowing and the sea is tumultuous at the moment. And it reminds me, it gives me a metaphor of where we are from a global perspective, from an economic perspective. Because at the moment, we've got three major problems. You know, my son is 9 months old at the moment, and these are the things that are relevant to me and my family, and I'm sure to many of you out there that are watching this video. The first one is our future. Where is our future? We have concerns for the future. You know, Clem Santa has a fantastic saying, how positive you are about the future of South Africa. If you are 70% positive, well then you should have 30% of your wealth overseas. But it does bother me, you know, someone of such astute education and significance and how well known he is in South Africa, he's increased us changing from a failed state from 10% when I watched him in the middle of this year, or actually even in September, to now being 25%. So for both my family and for my son, I do have concerns about the future, and I don't think it's about being negative. I just think that it's relevant in terms of where I am and what I need to look for and what I need to take into account. The second concern I've got is the rand devaluation. Now, we can have a debate about where the rand's going to go tomorrow or next week, and I'm not going to sit here and try and sound like an expert. But the problem is, over the last 20 years, the rand is devalued by more than 5% year on year, every single year. Now, I'm not saying it's been a straight line graph, but due to economic and political reasons, the rand has continued to devalue. Now, I deal with a guy by the name of James Painter, and he is one of the experts. He's had more than an 80% accuracy in choosing where the rand is going to go over the next effectively, in the future basically, and he's been doing that since 2005 and had this accuracy of over 80%, which I think is very dramatic. And something that really concerns me, we're sitting currently at about 880, 890 to the dollar, even closer to 9 rand to the dollar. He believes in the next 3 months we're going to be somewhere between 940 to 1050. But the thing that really concerns me is where's it going to be in the next couple of years, and his predictions are somewhere between 14 rand and 20 rand to the dollar. And for me, that's a major concern. That affects my value, my global wealth. And as one of our clients said to us the other day, it actually makes us a rand prisoner. It's quite a funny, term. The third thing that we've got is that we understand these concerns, and so we want to invest overseas. We want to, hedge our bets. And again, it's not just a South African thing. If you had all your money tied up in American property in 2007, you'd be feeling like a right pawpaw right now. So, Warren Buffett and all the great investors believe in diversification. But the problem is that 80% of South Africans that invest overseas actually lose money. So the question is, who do you trust? How do you go about it so that you do achieve your objectives and you don't end up being one of those South Africans that lose money? Well, I had similar problems. As I said to you, I'm an international investor. I've scoured the globe looking for opportunities. And most importantly for me, I believe that there's fantastic opportunity here in South Africa. I believe it's much easier to make 9 rand than it is to make $1. But at the end of the day, you still have to invest some of your wealth overseas. And that's why I look globally. My focus is always on first world assets. I like to invest in first world countries with first world assets, first world income, and a first world currency. My logic is, there's great opportunities, as I said, in South Africa, but why jump out of the pot into the frying pan? Why take your money out of South Africa and invest in Zimbabwe or Cyprus or Malta or other emerging markets? It makes absolutely no sense to me. And so my number one thing when I invest, as I said to you, if I want to make fast money, it's much easier to make in South Africa. But when I invested overseas, it's about wealth preservation. It's about finding blue chip investments, first world assets, first world income, so that I can preserve my wealth long term. The second thing is, when one takes into account the rand devaluation, it has a massive impact on us South Africans. To go on that skiing holiday, in terms of your global wealth, we continue to devalue. And so we're on that treadmill, and we've just got to run faster and faster and faster to maintain our wealth globally. And my point of view when it comes to whether I want to immigrate or something, that's got nothing to do with it. You know, my uncle lived in Zimbabwe right up until 2003. But when, you know, things got really tough, he had an option because he had set up, you know, offshore accounts with offshore currency, and it allowed him the freedom because he was a global player. He could move into Australia, he could buy himself his residency, he could, you know, effectively set up, buy a house for cash, put his kid through a private school. And that for me is just a personal experience. It's about remaining a global citizen, and that's why wealth preservation is such an important thing. When you take Clem Santa and the different scenarios, no one has an idea of what the future is, but the bottom line is what Clem Santa says, and I think it's so valuable, is no matter what happens in the world, no matter what happens globally, no matter what happens locally in South Africa, you need to have a plan. You need to have a plan A, a plan B, and a plan C, so that no matter what scenario takes place, you have that in place. And one of the reasons I get so excited about global property in first world countries is that I can live in South Africa, hopefully for many generations, and the bottom line is that I've got assets in first world currencies, in first world income, that are going to pay me. Now, if South Africa continues to bloom, fantastic. I live in South Africa with this magnificent view behind me, and I get to have offshore assets paying me foreign income. Fantastic. However, if that doesn't transpire and things don't go according to plan, I have a plan B. And so for me, it provides me with ultimately what we all want, which is peace of mind. You know, I've got peace of mind that no matter what scenario transpires, I have a plan for both myself and for my family. Now, as I said to you, I've scoured the planet looking for opportunities. I've invested in London heavily. I've invested in Australia heavily. But for me at the moment, I just have not found opportunities like they are currently present in America. You know, as you know, I've been to America 3 times in the last 6 months. And when I went there in 2010, I saw that there was great opportunity, but we couldn't find partners on the ground. When I went back now, we had the partners on the ground, and 2 things for me just blew me away. Firstly, I can buy property at 50% of replacement value. If it costs 100 Rand to build a house and I can buy it for 50, I'm sure that you would agree that it's a massive discount. And just to give you some sort of example, don't trust me on this. You know, at the end of the day, this magazine, The Economist, which is one of the most respected magazines worldwide, in 2006, they actually said there's going to be a dramatic crash in residential property around the world, and everyone poo-pooed it until Lehman Brothers went bankrupt. But interestingly enough, The Economist is now talking about a bull run in American property. And the thing that I find absolutely fascinating is they've analyzed the top 20 markets around the world, and they believe that American property is 20% discounted at the moment. That provides you with a massive opportunity to really buy stuff at great value, get great yields, and also great growth. And as a comparison, you know, places like London are actually 20% overvalued. South Africa is currently about on par. So it really shows you it's one of the best markets to invest globally, according to The Economist, in terms of real value. And the other thing that's very important to me is the pure fundamentals. You know, at the end of the day of supply and demand, there's more demand than there is supply. There is rental demand, and so you are getting solid yields. There's no point in buying property at a great discount unless you get the income. And you know, that's why for me, the second thing that was so important to me was that the partners on the ground. We've got partners on the ground. They've been around for a long time. They're established. They know how to deal with international investors. And most importantly, they can help you execute on the opportunity. They can collect your rent. They can provide that income and the yields. And you know, with yields of 10% plus, between 10 and 20%, it really, you know, that's why I'm so excited about what is happening in America. The other thing is when you compare an apple with an apple in South Africa, property in America at the moment is about 30% cheaper than property in South Africa, and that you can get double the yield. You know, it really is a no-brainer when one considers it from that perspective. And lastly, you know, in 2010 I had a major problem. I had a tenant here that wasn't paying my rent. My wife is actually a property lawyer, so technically I should just go down the route of using the courts. But we all know that the rights of property ownership in South Africa are a major problem. If the tenants don't pay, the court is not in our favor. And I've got a major issue with that. At the end of the day, I'm a property owner and I should have rights, basically. But in first world countries like England and Australia, and even better in America, 21 days. If the tenant doesn't pay, they get their first notice on the 7th day, the second notice on the 14th, and they're out on the 21st. So I love investing in first world countries where my rights to property ownership are actually protected. So why the buying trip? Well, at the end of the day, as I said to you, I'm an investor. I've been going over to America to buy property for myself. And interestingly enough, when I went first in April to go and buy for myself, and then I went back in August, and a number of our clients said to me, well, listen, you're over there anyway, can't you buy me a property? And then I came back in August, and then I had a whole lot more people say, well, listen, at the end of the day, I actually want to come and see the opportunity. And the beauty with what we do is we've got complete transparency. We've got nothing to hide. And so we welcome people to come and join us. Come along. Come and see what is happening on the ground. There's plenty of other people, particularly in South Africa out there, that are doing dodgy deals with financing, where they're buying properties for $30,000. They're selling them to you for $75,000. They're giving you 50% financing. And, they can't take you on buying trips, because the last thing they want you to do is actually go and see the quality of the product on the ground. But for us, ours is complete transparency. We're so proud of our product and our partners on the ground. We want you to come over. And ostensibly, there's 4 things that you're going to achieve on the buying trip. The first one is that you will get the right information. I say to be successful in property, and particularly international property, there's only 2 things you need to know. Firstly, you've got to have the right information, and secondly, you've got to have the right partners. So on the buying trip, you will first get the information. You will be there. You'll be hands-on. You'll be on the ground. You'll be able to touch it, feel it. You'll be able to get a sense for what's happening in the market and really, engage and be able to make educated and informed decisions. Secondly, you'll meet our partners. You'll meet everyone from the accountants, the lawyers. You'll meet the guys that are buying the properties, the guys that are renovating the properties. You'll meet the guys that are managing the properties, the guys that are doing the inspection trips. We've got the entire team so that you have the experience. You can shake their hand, you can look them in the eye and decide if this is what, it's who you like and who you're going to trust. Because at the end of the day, this investment's a long way away. You need to have people. I always say to people, buying property is 20% actually about buying the property and 80% about who's going to manage and maintain the property. So come to America, meet the guys on the ground, see if you trust them and whether you're prepared to invest in them. The third thing is that you can take action. We're all so busy nowadays, we're so overwhelmed with information. While you're there, there will be actual opportunities on the ground. We would have set up your structures, we will open bank accounts for you. You can actually see physical opportunities that are available to you, and you can take action. So in 1 week, you can get all the knowledge, you can meet the partners, you can take action and have peace of mind to know that you've effectively got started with regards to your offshore investment, or specifically got started in America, or even continue to build your portfolio in America. And the last one, the fourth thing, is that you will have fun. At the end of the day, I believe that it's not just about working hard, it's also about playing hard. And on the last trip we did helicopter flips into Vegas, into the Grand Canyon. We went to shows in Vegas. We did Halloween in New York. We went on Beale Street in Memphis. And we went out to a blues bar in Atlanta. Because for me, you've got to get the work done, but you've also got to experience the fun side. And we had such a fantastic group, and really great friends were built out of that experience. So, those are the 4 things. My last thing is why IPS. There's a lot of people offering different things, and there's a lot of information overload. Well, for me, it's because we've got the experience. We've helped over 2,000 people invest internationally to a value of over 1.6 billion. We've helped more people in this country invest internationally than everyone else put together. We're a member of the Association of International Property Professionals. It's the only international body that governs international property investment. I'm registered with CRS, which is the highest recognized qualification in America, which stands for Certified Residential Specialist. So we have the experience. I believe our greatest attribute is that we can help you find the best of breed partners on the ground. One of my greatest compliments, I think, was on the last buying trip. A number of our clients went out and looked at some of the competitors' product and then came on our buying trip, and every single one of them invested with our partners on the ground. Why? Because we have the best partners on the ground. After all these years' experience of investing internationally, over 15 years, the greatest asset I can bring you is finding the right partners on the ground. So our partners will provide you with a full solution. They'll help you find the property. They'll help you renovate the property. They'll help you manage the property, and they'll help you maintain the property. So that is so important in terms of where you actually are. The other thing is that we're investors ourselves. Myself and the rest of the IPS team, we're all property investors. Most of us have already invested in America. All of us have actually been over to America and witnessed the opportunity. But if you don't want to be part of the 80% of people that actually lose money, then please ask us for our free report on the 6 things you need to know before you invest offshore. It's absolutely critical that you get this report so that where you are and that you make the right decisions, educated and informed decisions in terms of where you're going. And lastly, we've investigated America. I've been there 3 times in the last 6 months. We've investigated over 10 cities. We went on Dolph DeRoos's tour to Phoenix and Vegas. We spent an absolute fortune on that property tour, that property education that he gave. You know, we've traveled to all the different cities, and we've chosen the best markets. And at the end of the day, we've chosen the markets that we personally are investing in. So the question is, if you want to join us on the buying trip, you have 2 ways of doing it. One is physically get on an airplane and come and join us. And you know, at the end of the day, it's free. We don't charge a cent. All that you've got to do is pay for your international flights, your internal flights, and your accommodation. It's a budget of about 30,000 Rand a person. Then you come over and you experience it with us. If you don't have the time, what about 70% of our clients do is they actually give me and my team a mandate. They tell us what they're looking for, and when I'm on the ground there I'm your ears and eyes. I take videos, I take pictures, I send them back to you. I'm your ears and eyes on the ground to give you that extra level of due diligence. And that's how you can take advantage of the buying trip, whether you come with me physically and the team, or whether you actually, you know, give us the mandate. One thing I forgot to mention is that it's all about trust. And you know, a lot of people, when it's long distance, you've got that Afrikaans saying, "Ver van jou goed na on your skade." You know, people are nervous when it's a long way away from home. They can't go and fix the tap, they can't collect the rent. And the question is, how do you trust us? Well, I would say to you, don't necessarily trust us. Trust our clients. Take a look at all these testimonials. You'll see here, you can click on any of these links. These are all clients that have been with me to America. These are all clients that have experienced and got the information on the ground, met the partners, taken action, they've invested in property, and also they were here to have fun. So take a look at these testimonials, because I think they ultimately sum up what I'm trying to say. Cheers. So if you are interested, go down below here, click on the button, you know, to actually book, get hold of one of the team members, and we will be able to assist you. And in conclusion, with this magnificent view, as a passionate South African, I wanted to tell you and finish off with a little story. So many people say to me, why do you do this? And at the end of the day, it's all based on Zig Ziglar's principle. Zig Ziglar said, you can have anything you want in life if you help enough other people get what they want. At the end of the day, ladies and gentlemen, myself and my team are all investing in American property because we think it is such a fantastic opportunity at the moment. And the more we help you achieve your objectives, the more we can help ourselves to continue to invest in the American market. So come and join us. That's everything from me with regards to the buying trip. I really look forward to contacting you and to helping you get involved in the American opportunity. It's the greatest wealth transfer of our lifetime. But most importantly, I look forward to helping you invest with confidence. Thanks.